Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm James Currie with the Communication Department. I'm talking to Dr. Mike Hoppe. He is the senior pastor at Saraland United Methodist Church. Mike, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks, James. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're having you here again talking about our Enneagram personality profiles. Let me give a shout out here. Let me tip down to my shirt here. Stand Up to Cancer. Thank you to them for sending me this shirt, or someone sent it to me. I don't I don't know how I got it, but I got it. But anyway, yeah, so the Enneagram personality types. Enneagram means 9. There's 9 different personality types. This is a series that you and I have been doing together here on Wellness Wednesday. And, it's important to know yourself and know people in your life, people that you interact with. So that's kind of what the Enneagram personality profile is. And it works a lot like the Myers-Briggs personality test. I took one of those when I was going into college, and it didn't do much good actually when I went into college. But this is a little bit more dynamic. It works similar to the Myers-Briggs because there's a series of questions, that you would answer to find out about yourself and your personality. The link that we have here is a paid test through the Enneagram Institute. But like we mentioned, there's plenty of other free resources out there. You found a lot of them also too, books in the library, YouTube videos, and then just Googling the Enneagram personality profile. So having set that up, let's go on into what we're talking about today, which is type 6, the Loyalist. So tell me what you know about the Loyalist.
Yeah. So, we've been doing all the different Enneagrams. It's a real popular personality assessment. I too, like you, have done the Myers-Briggs and others and found a Myers-Briggs. I was on the line on so many of the different characteristics that it wasn't as helpful to me as this Enneagram is. But the number 6, none of the numbers are better or worse than any of the others. But a 6 is called the Loyalist because the 6 is so loyal. That is one of the characteristics of a 6. They're there for their friends no matter what. Even when things become stressful in their life and overwhelming, they're going to be there for their friends, building this team and this network. Along with being loyal, they like to be a part of a team and not necessarily stand outside of the team or try to be much different than the team or rock the boat. They like to be part of the group, and that gives them a sense of deep security, which is really important to a 6. That need for security and safety, and that is one thing that really drives a 6, is that need to have that security. So they try to fulfill that need for security through their loyalty by having this group network that provides some safety or feeling of safety net for them.
Yeah, one of the things that is intriguing to me about the 6, the Loyalist, is that I read that they are a bundle of opposites. And what is really a conundrum, I guess, for me, is how can you have that duality and be two things at the same time? These are some examples that the Enneagram Institute gives, that 6s are like a ping pong ball, and they're constantly shuttling back and forth between whatever influence is hitting the hardest towards them at any given moment. Because of this, no matter what we say about 6s, the opposite is always true, that they can be strong and weak, they can be fearful and courageous, trusting and distrusting, defenders and provokers, sweet and sour, passive and aggressive, bullies and weaklings, on the defensive, on the offensive, a thinker and also a doer, a group person, but also a soloist, a believer and a doubter, tender and mean, generous and petty. And, I just almost want to say, choose a side, But
well, it really makes it interesting to try to understand. It really does. I know we said last time when we did the number 5s were really interesting to us, but 6s are as well. Just to try to understand that psychologically, what is their core fear and what drives them. It leads to those conundrums in their personality.
Yeah, a lot of that, excuse me, a lot of that is driven by anxiety,
Mhm.
of different types of things, not fitting in or not being part of a group, or trying to be kind of a chameleon, kind of, to blend
Right.
in. My analogy was, you watch Braveheart at the end, and there's Mel Gibson in the front, on the horse, and you have the whole army in the background. A six would be one of those people in the background.
Mm.
They want to be on that battlefield, but they don't want to be Mel Gibson on the horse in the front.
Well, and beyond that, they would not only maybe be on the back, but they would have every weapon and every tool and every list of every worst case scenario. This is a person that if they're going to go to the beach for the day, they're going to have the right sunscreen and the right, every type of supply you could possibly need, because they're in the thinking triad. They're one of those deep thinkers, and so their mind is always going about what could possibly happen. What's the worst case scenario, and therefore they make plans for everything that could possibly go on. So that anxiety is there. I wouldn't necessarily say they're always fearful people, but they certainly are planners, and their planning is to create some sort of sense of security in their life, which is their biggest drive.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good analogy also too. Now, some famous people, the Enneagram Institute has pegged as being sixes. Some of these are kind of surprising. Sigmund Freud,
Hmm.
um, Robert Kennedy, Diana, Princess of Wales, John Grisham, Bruce Springsteen, Oliver Stone, Robert De Niro, Marilyn Monroe, David Letterman, Jay Leno, Ben Affleck. So that's just some um, famous people in your same category if you're a loyalist, which is
Yeah.
kind of interesting to see how celebrities and people that are in the public eye, how these this fits them.
That's interesting, and that's certainly a different range of kinds of people you might not suspect. And for that reason, maybe it's more difficult to pick out a six than some of the other numbers. But I think it's good. Every number has great qualities in them, and it's great to have a friend who's a six, because they'll take care of you. They're going to be loyal to you. They're going to watch out for you. They're going to have the supplies you forgot to bring along. I mean, it's great
Mhm.
to have a friend who is a six. But of course, there are always some downsides to a six. Some of the growth areas, if someone is a six and they've identified themselves as a six, is while they're looking for security, they can tend to be insecure themselves. And so growing in self-confidence and in feelings of self-worth, that's a great growth area for a six. And sometimes because they always look for the worst case scenario, their mind is always on the hunt for what could possibly go wrong. It can be helpful for a six to think about what are the positives that are going on, and make your mind go into that area about the good things, the blessings that are going on in your life. And there's a lot of other areas as well, quieting the mind and learning how to relax and to pray or to meditate. Those kinds of things are really important. And also a six, this is really interesting to me, because I've worked with some sixes, and I've known some sixes, and even though they want the sense of loyalty, there's also suspicion of any authority figures. As some psychologists suspect that maybe early in life a six has learned to distrust authority figures for whatever reason, because maybe they sense an authority rocks the boat. So a growth area in this area could be to learn how to see how all the parts of a team can work together, and instead of being suspicious of authority, see how authority figures in our life can be a positive role.
I agree. I agree with you on all points. Excuse me. And even the one that you mentioned about, you know, finding, something to give you peace. That's good for any personality type, any person as well. Well, we'll kind of wrap up here, but if someone just wants someone to talk to be able to talk to a behavioral health specialist or counselor. And, they're just going through some life issues or something that, they're just kind of uncertain about. Doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with the Enneagram, even though that helps to know yourself. But, we've got behavioral health counselors here at MCHD. And if you want to call and make an appointment with any of them, you can call 251-690-8889. And our appointment line will put you in touch with one of our counselors. It's always helpful to talk to somebody about anything and everything, bottling things up, especially right now during this pandemic and, you know, 2.0 version, there's a lot of anxiety out there. So, we're here to help. We're here to talk. Just give us a call.
Great. I'm glad that you're offering these kinds of services at the Mobile County Health Department, and also even doing a series like this, which helps with mental health. And from my perspective as a pastor, spiritual health, I mean, we are all one person, mind, body, and spirit together. So health is integrated in our lives. So I think it's important that you're doing this, and I thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being part of this. Now we've got 3 other personality types that we're going to cover over the next 3 weeks. So we just ask that, you will tune back in on Wednesdays to check out the next personality type in the series. So thank you, Pastor Mike Hoppe from Saraland United Methodist Church.
Thank you.